What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Fragger Builds. So last time we built up this lumber mill and I think it turned out amazing. It still isn't finished yet. I didn't get around to adding those extra details off camera, and I'm not sure if I'll get around to doing that today because honestly I don't know what I want to add up there, and I'm not sure exactly what aesthetic I want to go with yet, so I do need to figure out that first before I do that. But there are still a few things that I need to do with it. But today we are not going to be focusing on that. Today we are going to be focusing on building up the clock tower, which is what you guys voted for in the last episode as to what we should do today. So right now I am just clearing out a little area here to kind of get a better idea of the land we have to work with around here, so we can actually pick out the final location of this clock tower. So I am going to get this clearing done and then gather up some resources so that we can start building up this clock tower. Alright, so I've got some resources gathered up to build up our clock tower, and I think I figured out where I want to build it, which is right here. So I think it's time that we start building this guy up. And first I need to figure out the exact dimensions of it, and I am going to start out by placing in some deep slate brick pillars, and I will fill in the walls with cobblestone for the main structure, and then at the top where the clock tower is, or where the clock is, I'm going to have dark oak logs for the pillars and birch logs for the walls. So first I need to start out by building up the base, and I think I'm going to put our first pillar probably here. Actually, I'm going to move it a block over. I think it'll be better right here. And then I think I'm going to go maybe 5 blocks wide. Is that going to be too wide? Because I do want the clock part where this stuff is going to go to be a little bit wider than this base level. I think that's going to be fine. I think it'll be fine being nice and big. And it is going to be a square. So the other one goes here. Alright, so we have our pillars laid out, and now we can fill in this with cobblestone. And so this is going to be the base of our main structure here, so this is going to go up quite a ways. I'm not exactly sure how tall it's going to be, but we will figure that out as we go. And I also want this to feel like it's kind of leaning over a little bit, so I will make it kind of lean over, sort of. So we're gonna go up a couple blocks here. I mostly want it to lean over this way, but I also might make it lean a little bit over that way. So I think I'm gonna go up here this many blocks and then place in this, and then that will go up even more. And then over here, I think I'm going to take it up a little bit further, so it's not just a flat line going all the way across to make it lean. And that may end up being a little bit too tall. I think it'll be fine though. And then we can just fill in this cobblestone layer. And then here in the middle, I think is where I'm going to have it start the leaning over process. And so we have this now, so let's see what this looks like. I don't know, it's kind of hard to tell if this is gonna look any good before we finish the rest of it. So I think I'm gonna build up some of the rest of these walls and kind of get this back wall here figured out a little bit. And I also might start leaning it over that way as well. And then we'll see if we can get this guy looking a little bit better, or at least to a point where we can make sense of whether or not this looks good. So this is what I have now with all of the walls filled in, and I think it kind of captures what I want it to look like. I do want to make it taller, obviously, so it will go up a little bit, and I think at this point I'm just going to bring it straight up, and I will probably retexture these walls here to add in some tuff in them, instead of it just being straight cobblestone. But I think for now this is fine just to get a general idea of what I want to go with. So I am going to bring it up a little bit, and then we can start working on the top part, which is where the clock face is going to go. And now I have this, which I just went 5 blocks up from where we were previously. I did originally go 7 blocks up, but I had to go back down to get some more cobblestone, and after looking at it, it was a little bit too tall for my liking, so I decided to bring it back down to 5 blocks up. And so now I am just going to add in these wooden bits, and I'm going to come out like this on all of the corners. And then I am going to fill in these gaps here with some trap doors on all of these sides. And then I'll probably just fill this in with some slabs. Actually, you know what? I don't think I'm going to put the corners in. I think I'm just going to have the logs go up like that. I think that'll look pretty good. And then these I am going to make another square with, so I'm going to have to take these. I'm going to have to take these guys 7 blocks up. And so now it's time to put in the walls, and I do need to get something for the clock faces, which I'm probably just going to use snow because I have a bunch of that around here, and I need to get that because I don't have any on me right now. So I'm going to get some of that really quick, and then we can start building up the walls. So this is what it looks like from the bottom right now, and it's not super great. We do obviously still need to put in the walls up there, and there's a lot of details and stuff that I'll probably end up adding to the bottom side of this, and the support areas specifically right there. So there is a lot of other stuff I need to add to it, but for right now, we are going to work on the face of the clock. So for these walls, I'm just going to use stripped birch. And then for the face of the clocks, I am obviously going to be using snow. And I need to figure out where this needs to go. So I'm going to have the face of the clock start here. So it's just going to be 3 blocks there. And then it's going to come out here. So now it's 5 blocks. And these are just going to go all the way up. And then this is only going to go up to here. And then we'll have 3 blocks there. And then fill in the rest of this with our stripped birch. And so we end up with that for the clock face. And so now I need to do this on all of the sides. And then on the outer parts, we will add some detail with like buttons and walls and all of that good stuff. Alright, so I've got all of these walls filled in, and now I am just going to add some cross beams going across the top of these, as I do normally with those houses. So this is just going to be stripped dark oak as normal. And that is pretty much it for the main structure. I will obviously have to put a roof on this, and I'm probably going to use spruce. I might use dark oak. I'm not sure yet, but I'll probably use spruce. So from the ground, this looks not great. It doesn't look super great right now. I do need to add those extra details for the supports at the bottom there. And obviously there still needs to be a roof added to this. And I might add some sort of counterweight to this side because it is leaning over like this, and I think it would make sense to have something over here kind of holding it down to the ground, or I might potentially have some sort of support structure. I don't know, that might not make sense because it's not leaning over too much, but I kind of want to have something there for support. I don't know. I need to figure out all of the little details that I need to add here, and I need to get the resources for them gathered up. So I'm probably going to do that. And then we will see where we go from here with this guy. Okay, so I know this kind of looks a little bit like a birdhouse right now. I haven't put the clock faces on it yet, and the roof it really makes it look like a birdhouse. So there is still a lot of stuff I need to add to it to make it feel a little bit more like a clock tower. And to make it feel a little more steampunk, I will of course be adding some cogwheels to the side of it, so it feels a little more steampunk. And I'm still undecided about adding supports to it or potentially adding a counterweight to it. I'm not exactly sure which one I want to go with yet, but I don't know. I think it's in a good spot right now, so I really just want to focus on getting in the details that I know I want right now, and then I'll worry about adding in all of that other stuff later. So right now, I think I'm going to do the texturing on these walls because I have a lot of tuff here. And while I do that, I want to talk to you guys about some stuff on this channel. So as you may have noticed, it's been a little while since my last episode of Fragger Builds. In fact, it's been exactly 2 weeks, I believe, since my last episode of Fragger Builds. And that is partially because I've been feeling a little bit burnt out on this series, and to prevent myself from getting completely burnt out on this series, I have decided to tone down the amount of Fragger Builds videos I make and not really rely on doing them every week like I have been. And in order to do that, I need some other content to fill in the gaps here. And I want that content to be a reaction series on this channel. And it's not going to be like your typical Reddit reaction videos that you find every single YouTuber out there doing. I don't want it to be like that. I want it to be a reaction to your builds. So you guys send me in your Minecraft builds, and I will react to them and maybe give a little bit of advice on them as well and how you can improve them. And I think it would be really cool to see what you guys are building in the game, and I think you guys would maybe like me to react to some of your stuff and maybe give you some advice. So if that is a series you are interested in, I have already made a few posts on social media, specifically on my Discord server and on Twitter, and I did also make a post on the community tab here on YouTube, and those posts go over how you can submit your builds for this reaction series. And the general gist of it is you guys just take a couple screenshots of your pictures and you either tweet them at me or post them in my Discord server on the Fragger Reacts channel, and then I will get those submissions and make a video out of them. Currently, though, I only have one submission, and I would like to have at least 4 submissions for a full video. Possibly more. I'm not entirely sure yet because I haven't made one of these videos before, and I have no idea how long it's going to take me to react to a build and how much of the video that's going to take up. So that's all stuff I would have to figure out just by recording one of these videos. And in order for me to record one of these videos, I need more submissions. So if you have a build you would like me to react to, then definitely send those over and I will look at them. There are more requirements for the screenshots. Obviously, I would like you to capture as much detail as possible. And there's a few other requirements as well that are listed in the post that I made about this series on social media. So if you are interested in those, definitely go read those posts so that you can make sure your screenshots are good enough for the video. But I will be a little more lenient about those requirements for the first few episodes because you guys don't really have a ton of examples to go by for what I'm really looking for in these screenshots. So if they're not exactly what I'm looking for, it's not a huge deal for these first few ones. So don't really worry about it that much. As long as they're good enough and you capture all the detail, they should be fine. And this reaction series is something that I have been wanting to do for a while now. Over a year, actually. I've been thinking about doing this series, but I never really knew exactly how I was going to execute it because there's so many different ways that you guys could possibly submit your builds. Like, I thought about doing world downloads, but there's a lot of problems with that. First off, it would just be a lot of work keeping all of the worlds organized in my single player list. And then on top of that, it's just so many worlds would be in this single player list. It would be very overwhelming. And then secondly, it also introduces the risk of people potentially sending me viruses. And whether that's on purpose or accidental, I don't really want to risk that. I know it's probably not something that I should be worried about right now with the size of my community. The community is not super huge, but it is something that is a bit concerning to me, the potential for people to send me viruses. So to avoid all of those risks, I think the best way to go about it would be through either videos or photos. And on top of that, I don't think a lot of people have systems powerful enough to record decent video at 1080p 60 FPS. So because of that, I think screenshots are going to be the best way to go about this series. And I may change that in the future. I may start doing videos, or at least give people the option to do walkthrough videos, but I don't think I'm going to be requiring it. And additionally, when it comes to world downloads, there is also the issue of Java Edition versus Bedrock Edition, and that introduces a whole nother headache because then I have to keep everything straight on which world downloads are on Java Edition and Bedrock Edition. And plus, currently, right now, I don't actually have a version of Bedrock Edition. I only have Java Edition. So to avoid those headaches as well, I think screenshots are going to be the best because it doesn't matter what version of Minecraft you're running, you can still submit screenshots for me to react to. And for this series, any build style is accepted and any build level is also accepted. You don't have to be an expert builder in order to be part of this series. Any skill level of building is acceptable. And really the only kind of builds that won't be accepted are inappropriate builds, of course. So try to make sure they are appropriate. But anyway, that's really all that I wanted to talk about right now. And if you are interested in being part of that series, then definitely go submit your builds to me and I will try to make one of those videos. Again, I only have one submission at the moment, so I do need some more of those to make a full video. But anyway, we are done texturing the walls here, and so I'm going to move on to adding all of the extra little details and stuff. I obviously still need to add that clock face there, and I'll add some more cog wheels to the side of this and stuff, and I'll think more about whether or not I want a support system or a counterweight or what else I want to add to this guy. So I've got this guy finished up now, and I think it's looking pretty good. I added some cog wheels here to the side of it, as you can see, and I think those turned out amazing. And I have never really been super great at making cog wheels, so because of that, I'm very happy with how these ones turned out. And then on this other side here, as you can see, I did add this counterweight that is supposed to make it look like it's being held up by it, since it is leaning over quite a bit. And I think that turned out pretty good. I probably could do it a little bit better, so I may revisit that at some point in the future, but I think for right now it is fine. And then for the clock faces up there, I just used dark oak buttons and the deep slate brick walls. So that's what I used for those clock faces, and I think they turned out really good. And then as you can see up there in the corner, I did put in this extra bit of detail with this rope thing that's supposed to be coming down, and then there's a lantern hanging on it, and that lantern isn't just there to add an extra bit of detail, it also illuminates the clock face there, and illuminates that one a bit as well. And so because of that, I might add a few more of those on here as well, just to illuminate the other clock faces, because these other guys you can't really see at night. But I did also add some leaves to the bottom of this. I ran out of leaves, so I probably will put some more going up the side of this. Obviously, I'm going to keep out of the way of these cog wheels because those are supposed to be active, but since it is Minecraft, I can't really animate those cog wheels and make them active. But overall, I am pretty happy with the final result here. I do want to add some extra details to the top part of the clock because it just looks too perfect for me. I don't really like how perfect it looks. It's such a stark contrast from the main structure of this clock tower to the top part where the faces are. This main structure is just, it's broken down and leaning over, and you can see the cracks on here on the texturing. It all just makes it look more imperfect and broken down, and then that up there is just too perfect. So I'm not entirely sure what I want to do to break up the perfection. Those lantern things may be enough, but I don't think it's going to be. But anyway, that is going to be it for this episode. Next time, I think I'm just going to be building up some more houses in this city. I don't think I'm going to work on the stone quarry in the next episode. I'm not sure when I'm going to get around to that. But for the poll in this episode, I want to ask you guys what you think I should put here. So I planned this area out with the cobblestone, and there's going to be a pathway going around it, which I forgot to mention at the end of the last episode. The deep slate pathway up here was the winner of that poll, this guy here. But anyway, right here I want to have some sort of central community area for this city. And right now I'm not exactly sure what it should be. So I have a few ideas, and the first idea is to make it a garden. Now, I don't think that would really fit in super well with the steampunk theme, but I still think I could make it look really good, and it would be really cool to have this nice big garden here in the center of the city, right in front of the clock tower. I think that would be really cool. And then the second option here would just be like some sort of town square, and I would probably have like a nice fountain at the center, like a really nice big fountain, and then it would just be like an open area for people to kind of walk around in and enjoy the views of the city. And then the third option is to do a marketplace. So this market option would end up looking very similar to the open square option with the fountain at the center, but of course there would be market stalls in the center instead of a fountain, and it would be a little bit more closed off. I'm not exactly sure the styles I want to go with for the marketplace, and honestly I may end up doing some sort of combination of the center fountain with a marketplace in there. That may end up looking pretty cool. I'm not entirely sure, but I will have some options for you to vote on in the poll. And of course, as always, there is a poll for this in the community tab on this channel. So if you want to influence what this area in the city is going to be, then definitely go over to the community tab on this channel and vote on that poll. But anyway, that is going to be it for this one. If you have any ideas for this city as a whole or any individual part of this city, then make sure to leave those down in the comment section. And of course, if you did enjoy it, then do not forget to hit that like and subscribe button down below. And if you guys would like to interact with me or my community outside of YouTube, then make sure to join my Discord server linked down in the description. Or you can follow me on Twitter, also linked down in the description. But anyway, that is going to be it for this one today. So as always, don't forget to keep building.